Hi, this is Karen with Karen's Cards and More, and I'm so excited that you decided to join me today to watch how to make this wonderful card. This is a fun fold. This is called a waterfall card, and I'm going to show you how to make that, and I'm going to show you how it works. So here's the card front, but then when you pull this little tab, it just goes to each of the little squares that we have on there. And then you just push it back up and you're back to the top. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and I want to show you something hopefully to help you with your stamp sets, and we'll get to that in just a moment. What do we need to make this card? So I'm going to be using Stampin' Up! Products. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! And so those are the products you're going to see here today. You can order any of these products by going to my blog site, karenscardsandmore.com, and I'll put that in the description below. And there'll be a button there that you can click on to shop. If you click on the blog for this card, it'll have everything right at the bottom listed out that you need for this card. So I'm going to feature the Easter Bunny stamp set. And the reason I wanted to do this card with this set is I wanted to show you sometimes we buy a set with a certain thing in mind. Like I bought this to do an Easter card. But what about the rest of the year? Easter's only once a year, and I've got this whole stamp set. And the images are super cute, so why not find other uses? And so that was my goal with this, is to show how you can use these images from this Easter set. And this card says more spring than it does Easter. And then the here it says hi. Here it says it's a new day. And then here it says enjoy all the moments. So that could be for a lot of different things. And you get more use of your stamps that way. So that's why I wanted to feature this. So we're going to be using a variety of stamps from this Easter Bunny set. And then we're also going to be using these are called Something Fancy Dies. And we're going to use one of these to get our scalloped part at the bottom of our pull tab. And we're going to feature one of the new colors in the catalog. This is called Bubble Bath. So we don't have Petal Pink anymore. With the color refresh, Petal Pink retired, but we have Bubble Bath. So we're going to use Bubble Bath. And another new color this year, this is Pebbled Path. And so we're going to use that as well. As far as inks, we're going to do some coloring with, I have a whole bunch of different blends, Stampin' Blends, and the colors of those are just what I had and what I'm using. You could definitely tailor it to whatever inks that you have. So we're going to need a piece of basic white that is 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score it at 4 1/4. Then we're going to need a piece of basic white that is 2 by 9, and we're going to do the scoring on that together. Then you're going to need 4 squares that are 1 3/4 inches each. You're going to need some of the Bubble Bath cardstock. You're going to need 4 squares that are 2 inches. And then you're going to need a piece that is 3/4 by 4. And then you only need 1 piece of Designer Series paper, and this is just 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to pull out the things that we're going to be using here at first. Let's start with scoring our 2 by 9 sheet. Okay, let's start with that. I'm just going to bring in my trimmer, and this is my Stampin' Up! Trimmer. Absolutely love this. I think I'm going to pull it. Let's go see if we can do it like this. I'm trying to make sure I can get it in the camera. So this piece is 2 by 9, and this is going to create our waterfall effect. Okay, so we're going to start, and I'm going to get the cut blade. The darker color is the cut. The lighter one is the score, and so that's what we're going to need. So our first score line is going to be at 2 inches. So I'm just going to slide that in there at 2 inches. And we're going to score that. And then we're going to need 2 3/4. So we'll just slide this on up. And then we're going to need 3 1/2. So there's 3 1/2. And I will put all these directions with all these measurements on my blog so you can check it out there instead of writing them all down if that works easier. And then we're going to go with 4 1/4. And that's got our scoring done. So I am going to move my trimmer out of the way. And I'm just going to go ahead and fold these score lines. Just like that. Okay, and that's going to make our waterfall mechanism. This is going to be the end that we pull. This is going to be the mechanism that creates the waterfall. Okay, so what we can do is we can go ahead. Now you could round the corners, you could hole punch it and put ribbon through it to make a pull tab. The way I made my pull tab, the larger, so let me show you this. There's 2 of the scallop type tab. You could use any of these that you like, but the larger of the 2 is the same width basically as what we're doing. So what I did is I just moved this so that the bottom of the circle part was in the middle of my strip. And I'm going to turn this over so you can see. So there's that. And I just centered it in between there. I'm going to flip that over. And I just used some, I have some low tack tape that I used to tape that down. And so I'm just going to use a little of that. Just like that. Now, here's something I'm going to tape that top portion down as well. Something to note when you run this through. So when you put this die in your die machine, you only want the plate. So I'm going to bring in my plate so you can see how I'm going to run this through. So here's my sandwich that I would normally make. And I'm going to place this down. Just like that. But when I put my top plate, I want to stop it right at that first, right here. See how the rectangle part ends and the scallop part starts? I want to put it so it only cuts to there. I don't want it to cut up through here. So that's the way I'm going to run it through. So let me do that, and then I'll show you what we have. So when I take this off, you can see where it cut, where it die cut and where it didn't. So, and depending on how you get your plate on there, it could cut different than mine, but that's just to make sure I didn't cut it too high. That's just how far it cut. So all I'm going to do is take my big snips, and I am just going to, I'm just going to cut across this way instead of trying to round it. I'm just going to cut that straight across. Just like that. So that gives me my pull tab. Let's go ahead with our stamping. So you've got 4 squares. And then we're going to stamp a little on this as well. So we're going to start with this, and I'm going to use my black Memento ink. And one of the greetings in this set is enjoy all the little moments. And I want to put that somewhere. Let me pull this again so you can see. I want to put it somewhere in the middle of this long part so that it's hidden until we pull the tab. So somewhere in here, and I'm just using the black Memento ink. And I'm going to bring in my matte, since these are the polymer. And I'm just going to stamp it in the middle here. Just like that. So that gives us our greeting in the middle. And then just for an added, just to do something different with that, I'm going to use the bubble bath. And I pulled out, this is an online exclusive set, Irresistible Blooms. I like these random dots that come with this set. So I'm going to use those to use the bubble bath ink and just make some random dots around this. And so I'm going to bring in a scrap of paper that I can put underneath this. Just use a piece of my grid paper that I have. And I'm just going to put this underneath so that if I stamp off, it's no big deal. Okay. So, get things moved around. So I'm just going to ink up with these splatters, the splatter look. And I'm just going to, and I didn't care that it was right over the black. It's not going to make it so that you can't read it. So I'm just going around and adding some of these random just like that. Just a few of those around. Just to give it a little bit of something different. Okay? So now let's start with our 4 squares. So you've got 4 different pictures or greetings or whatever it is that you want to be in your waterfall card. And so we want to work on those. And what I like to do to give the ink just a minute to set before I color, I'm going to go ahead and do all my stamping and then I'll do all my coloring. So I know that I want one of these to be this bunny. And I didn't want to do the black ink because I didn't want it to be that stark of a difference. So I'm actually going to use this Pebbled Path, which is a gray color, because I wanted the softer look. So I'm just going to ink this up. And this is going to be one of my waterfall panels. And I just want his head to show. So I'm just going to stamp that down. And we'll color him in just a minute. Okay? So there's that. And then for my next one, I'm going to use the black Memento. Move that out of the way so I don't get anything on it. And I started with this little birdie. I knew I wanted him to be about in the middle, and I am doing this in the black Memento. So I'm just going to put him about in the middle. Just like that. And up in the corner, I wanted to do the butterfly that comes with this set. I was thinking all about spring and you have the butterflies. So let me pull out the butterfly to go next. And I'm just going to stamp this up in the corner. Just like that. And then I have this high that I want to put on there. And all this is with the black memento. Just like that. And then I am going to add a few of the pink bubble bath blotches down around here, but I want to do that after I color it. So I'm just going to move this out of the way, and we're going to do our next square, which we're going to do with the pebbled path, and it's this big bunny. So I'm just going to ink him up and stamp him towards the middle. So there we have that. And then for my last square, we're going to use the black memento ink. And there in this set, there is a spray of flowers that we're going to use. We're also going to use the greeting that says, "It's a new day." So we're going to do the flower spray towards the bottom. I'm just going to do this towards the bottom. Just like that. And then "It's a new day" is going to go right above that. Just like that. Okay, we're ready to do some coloring. And I'm going to, actually I'm going to use my scrap paper while we color. And what I am going to do, I'm going to pull my mat out. But I'm going to actually fold this in two because the Stampin' Blends will bleed through. And I just want to have a double layer to protect my surface, okay? So we've got these panels that we need to color. I'm going to start with my two bunnies, and I'm going to use the light and the dark of the gray granite, and then I'm going to use a little bit of the dark melon mambo. Or this is the light melon mambo. You could do these however you want. That's just what I'm going to use on my bunnies, okay? So I'm gonna just start with my melon mambo. And for most of what I'm doing, I'm gonna use the blunt tip. And I just wanna do the inside of the ears. Just like that. And I'm gonna do it on both bunnies. Now, I am not an artist, so you may be, and you may be able to do much better coloring than me, but the Stampin' Blends do make it easy to make something that will look nice. So then I want to use my lighter gray to give a difference, like in the face than the body. So I'm going to just use my light gray, my gray granite, and I'm just going to come in and do these areas around the face. Now this one bunny, there's no line to tell you where to stop on the face, so you could do as far as you wanted. The other bunny, there's definitely, and I'm just going to come around here just like that. This one, I just did the whole face. And again, I'm just using the blunt tip. You could use the brush tip if you like that better, if that works better for you. I'm just going to continue to color this. And I am going to go around the ears with the light on the inside of the ears. Actually, on this one, I'm going to do the whole ear with the light. On the other one, I'm just going to do the inside of the ear because the other one is the outside of the ear looking from a different direction. And I'll do it with the dark. Okay, so that's got that. So now I'm going to come in, and for this, I did use the brush tip just so it would go a little faster. And I'm just going to color this with the dark. I'm going to blend where the two colors go together. Get the little arms. Okay, just like that. And then if you have areas where you want to go back with the light, you can do that. And I want to add a little right in there. And I think that works good. I think I like that. So I'm done with those. Now let's go to the bird. I am using the Light Daffodil Delight to do his little beak. And then I'm using the light and the dark of the Balmy Blue. For the dark, I'm just doing a little bit, I just wanted to give a differentiation, however you say that word, of the color along his belly and just along his tail with the dark. Just a little bit of variety of color. And then I'm going to come back with the light, and I'm just going to feather that out. And you can always go back and add more if you want a bigger difference of the dark and the light. Definitely give it a second and let the alcohol do its things before you decide if you want more. I definitely want a little more, so I'm going to go back in here with the dark. And then I'm just going to blend that a little bit. It's just a subtle difference. And then I'm going to go back to my light Melon Mambo. And I'm just going to do the dots on the butterfly. Just like that. And then I'm using the dark Fresh Freesia. And I'm just going to do the rest of the butterfly with that. As you can tell, this is just not my thing, but I can do it. I can do enough to make a good card. Okay, we've got that done. Now let's bring in our flowers here. And I'm going to start with, I'm using the light and the dark of the Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to start with the dark on these leaves. I'm just going down these center lines. I'm just using those as my guide to add dark. Just like that. And then these little tiny leaves over here, I'm just going to go ahead and color in, make those one color. And I'm using the dark. Just like that. Then I'm going to come back with the light. And I'm going to color the rest of the leaf. And that dark is just going to give it a little character to that veining in the middle of the leaf. Just like that. And then I'm going to use the light Daffodil Delight that we had. And I'm going to color just the center of this flower. And I'm going to go ahead and do the center of this flower. And that's that. And then I'm going to use the light and the dark blues. So I'm going to use the light. Well, let me start with the dark because I'm only using it for a little bit. So these lines in this flower, on the inside of the flower, I'm just going over with the dark. Just like that. Then I'm going to take the light and I'm going to do the center of this flower. And then I'm going to do the rest of this, just pulling that dark color. Just like that. And then I'm going to come in with my light Fresh Freesia. I'm going to do, actually I'm going to start with my dark Fresh Freesia because I want to do there's a line down the middle of this flower that I'm going to do with the dark. Just like that. And then I'm going to come in with the light and just color the rest of that in. And then I'm going to use this for these little berry type things. And I'm also going to color the middle of that blue flower. Okay. And then I'm going to use the light Melon Mambo that we've been using for the rest of this flower. And I'm also going to do this one. Now, these are not, you do not have to use these colors exactly. Just look through your Stampin' Blends, look at what you have, and use what you have, okay? So now we've got all of that ready. The only other thing is on this one with the bird, I do want to add those pink blotches just because I thought it looked a little plain. So I'm just going to use that bubble bath color. And I'm just going to put some, I just want it down at the bottom, so I'm just going to put some like that. And like that. You could always add a little more. Let's go just a little bit more. Just like that. Okay. Now we've got all of our squares ready, and we're ready to put our card together. So let's get all the pieces together. Close this up. The first thing that I'm going to do, and I'm using liquid glue for this, for part of it. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and mat my colored, the ones that we just worked on and stamped and colored. We're just going to mat those on the bubble bath mats that we had. And you can see as I'm doing this, you can see on the back where the ink does bleed through a little bit. So that's why I always protect my surface. And I'm just going to center this up. This is why I'm using the liquid glue, so I have time to move it if I need to. Just like that. Okay, we've got one more. Just like that. We're going to mat that one. Okay, so we've got those 4 pieces ready. We're going to go ahead and mat our designer series paper on our card base. And you could use the liquid glue, you can use Stampin' Seal, whatever you want. I'm just going to go ahead with my liquid glue since I already have it out. I'm just going to go light with it since this is the designer series paper. Okay. And I'm just going to adhere that down. Just like that. Now this little strip that we cut is going to go on top of here. You want to give yourself at least an inch and a quarter from the bottom. Now I did not measure mine. You could definitely do that if you wanted and put a mark. I didn't need to be that specific with it. So I'm just going to put it there. But you only want to put glue right on the ends because you have to be able to get your sliding mechanism behind this. And you definitely want to use either the Stampin' Seal Plus, liquid glue, or tear and tape for this because you want it to be secure, okay? And I'm just going to lay this down and eyeball it. That looks good. And I'm just going to press that down. Now, we're going to put our squares on this. Something to think through. So what I do is I lay these out in the order that I want them. So I want that to be my first one. I want that to be my second one, my third one, and my fourth one. So I lay them all out. Your fourth one is the one that's going to go on the full square. So that's got to go on the bottom. And that one gets attached totally to this square. Just like that. You got to work in reverse. So you want your bottom one to go on first. The one you want to see last is the one that goes on first. Okay? And I'm just going to attach this. And again, you're going to want to use something that's either the liquid glue, tear and tape, Stampin' Seal Plus, something that's going to hold. Okay, now for I'm working backwards. This was number 4. This is number 3. I'm only going to I only want to adhere the top. So it will make my mechanism, okay? So I'm going to just put my adhesive on this part. And then I'm going to layer this to the top of that. And I'm just going to try to line up the sides. Just like that. I do have a little bit of time to get them straight. And I'm just going to keep working my way up. So then here's the next one. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm lining them up on the sides and on that fold. Just like that. Okay. And then the one I want on top will go here. Okay, just like that. So this is how it's going to go. Now, I'm going to bring in our card base. This is going to tuck underneath the strip that we glued on. Then this is going to hang over. So then you just got to decide where you want this. And I want about the same distance, top and bottom, and side to side. So I think, and I want it to be as straight as I can, so I think that looks good. Now here's the thing. You gotta be careful what you glue down. If you glue down your pull tab, you won't be able to pull it. If you glue down these other squares, you won't be able to make the waterfall. The only one, and I got some ink on there, the only one that you want to glue down is this piece right here, and only in the middle, okay? So what we're gonna do, once I get this set where I want it, I am just going to lift this up, but I'm going to leave this under here. Well, now I've got to do it again because I moved it. Okay, so let's get this set. Okay. I think that looks good right there. And I'm just going to lift this up. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. You can see where the piece is and not go past the piece that's underneath, the white piece. So you don't want to go past that. Just like that. And then I'm just going to let that fall down and press it. Just like that. And you could lay something on it till that glue dries. It doesn't take a big long time. That's really got our card done. And then you can write pull on here. So I'm just going to use this Sharpie, and I want to write pull just on the tab there. So I'm going to pull my tab. I just want it in this bottom scallop. I'm going to try to write it real small. And we're going to fold this. And then you just pull this and you get the waterfall effect. And then you just roll it back up. And there you have it, a waterfall card. Easy to do, fun to make, and a great way to use up maybe a stamp set that you had bought for a particular purpose and now you're trying to think, what else could I do with that? I hope you enjoyed this. If you're first time with me, then I hope you will subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Be sure to check out my Facebook group, my Facebook page, and my blog site. And I will be back with you to craft again soon.